Hello, welcome to the Evan Show. I'm your host, Evan, and this is.
I'm Rob.
And today we will be discussing the AFC and NFC championships and who will be doing the best and the worst. Alright, let's get started. Alright, we will be starting with the NFC, the Eagles against the 49ers. So, I believe that the final score will be San Francisco 27, Philadelphia 17. I feel like San Francisco's offense has sputtered in the past few playoff games that they've been in against the Cowboys and Seahawks. Well, more against the Cowboys and the Seahawks. But I feel like they've got such a good defense that they can probably handle the Eagles.
Hmm. Well, I think it's going to be a tougher game
Mm.
for the Niners defensively. I don't see them holding the Eagles to 17 points, but
True.
I do all along have been saying it's going to be a San Francisco Chiefs Super Bowl. So, kind of been there
Yeah.
since mid-season, right?
Hmm.
So I got to stick to my guns, but I'm going to go Niners 27, Eagles 24.
Yeah, I was considering doing that, but I feel like the Niners' defense is way too good to let that many points get scored. Um, I think the key players for the Niners will be Brock Purdy and Deebo Samuel, because Deebo's been very consistent, and Purdy's, if he doesn't do good, then Deebo's not going to do good.
Mm-hmm.
For Philadelphia, it's definitely Jalen Hurts and Miles Sanders, because if Sanders doesn't do well, then they're going to have to rely on Kenneth Gainwell and Boston Scott. Half the NFL fans don't even know who those people are, and then they don't have Jalen Hurts working well, then that's a huge problem for
Yeah, I
them.
mean, I would think that Philly is probably going to rely on the pass more than anything, and so most of their running is probably going to be Hurts when he's not throwing to
Mm.
Smith or Brown or any of his other receivers. But it's a battle of the best defense in the NFC against the
Mhm.
best offense in the NFC, right? So, you know, defense typically wins championships, and so I'm going to have to stick with the Niners and hope that that secondary can shut down Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown, and then it's just a matter of trying to keep Hurts from scrambling around and breaking off some big runs like he tends to do.
I mean, if Bosa can stay consistent like he has all year, then Hurts is gonna definitely be forced to run out a little bit more. So
Hmm.
if they can keep people like Fred Warner and Dre Greenlaw on the outsides, then it's definitely going to help them a lot when it comes to stopping Hurts.
Yeah, and I think that offensively, McCaffrey and Mitchell have to really have great
Mhm.
games on the ground to take some of the pressure off Purdy. I mean,
Mhm.
it would be amazing to see Mr. Irrelevant, last pick in the draft,
Yeah.
make it to the Super Bowl, leading his team as a quarterback. Obviously, never been done before,
Mhm.
um, but there's going to be a lot of nerves, I think, for him
Mhm.
going into that game. So,
Yeah.
so yeah, what do we got going on in the
Wait,
AFC?
not yet. I still got a few more.
What?
So the most consistent, like definitely gonna do good, likely, are for me are probably Debo and AJ Brown,
Hmm.
and a few sleepers. Like I'm not sure if these guys are gonna do well, but they've definitely got a chance. Are probably Devonta Smith, Christian McCaffrey, George Kittle, Brandon Ayuk, Dallas Goddard, and Brock Purdy.
Yeah, it should be a good game for Kittle too.
Hmm.
Tight end's always a good release valve for the young quarterbacks.
Hmm. Because all these guys that I just named are consistent,
Hmm.
decent, but their workloads may be different with the opponents they're up against or who they have. Because, of course, Purdy is not very experienced, not a top of the league quarterback,
Hmm.
and for Philadelphia, they're going up against the best defense in the league.
Right.
So,
Yep. All right.
all right, now I'm ready for the AFC.
All right. Let's talk about the AFC.
One sec. All right, we are done with our intermission. Now back to the AFC. How do you think the game's gonna go?
Uh, I don't know. This is a game that I've been waiting for all season. So they had a good matchup again in the regular season. They had two good matchups last year. I think the final in all three of the most recent matchups have been Bengals 27, Chiefs 24, right?
Yeah.
Mahomes is hurt, but gonna play. Like I said, I've been saying Chiefs Niners all along, so my prediction is going to be Chiefs 31, Bengals 30.
Close game.
Yeah. I think it's going to come down to a kick in the last seconds. I don't know if it's going to be Butker kicking a winning field goal or if it's going to be McPherson missing a potential winning field goal, but I think it's going to be one of those matchups where it's back and forth, right to the end. That's what Kansas City tends to do in the AFC Championship games, whether it's against Patriots, against the Bills. They've had some pretty wild AFC Championship
against
games.
The Bengals last year too. I got the Bengals winning 27-23 because so my Kansas City impact players are Patrick Mahomes and Chad Henne. Because if Mahomes is not injured, then of course the Chiefs are actually going to have a good game. But if he's injured, he's not going to do well and probably going to need Henne to come in. And we all know that Chad Henne, he's been playing since like 2008 now. So he's at this point pretty old and probably starting to lose the same play that he used to play.
Yeah.
And for the Bengals, I have Joe Mixon and T. Higgins as their key players because if Mixon can step it up like he did against the Panthers or whatever when he had like 5 rushing touchdowns and a receiving touchdown, then that would definitely help a lot. But if he doesn't do that, then the Bengals are going to heavily rely on the pass game. So then that's where I get T. Higgins.
Yeah.
Because if Jamar Chase is catching like 18 footballs since Mixon's doing nothing, and then T. Higgins is also going to have to catch quite a few because we're not sure if Tyler Boyd's actually going to do good or what, because he's just kind of been on and off. He's been worthy of top receivers in the league, but he just hasn't been able to climb up to where he was a few years ago.
Yeah.
So for the definitely gonna do well, I have Travis Kelce and Jamar Chase. They've both been very consistent this year, and I don't see any reason why they'd slow down now. For my sleepers in that game, Tyler Boyd, of course, Kadarius Toney, Hayden Hurst, Marquez Valdes-Scantling, and Juju Smith-Schuster. I picked just about every single receiver in the Chiefs receiving corps because it really depends on the quarterback situation that they're in, so they can do good or bad.
Yeah.
Because if they got Henny's going to just pass it a bunch to Kelce and run the football more. But if they've got Mahomes, then all the receivers are going to be involved.
Yeah, I think regardless of whether it's Mahomes or Chad Henne, it's going to come down to Kansas City trying to control the clock and running the ball or using their running backs as receivers out of the backfield to just keep the ball moving, keep the chains moving, and keep the clock running. So Jerick McKinnon, Isaiah Pacheco, I think those are going to be some of the key players for Kansas City because if Mahomes can't move around well on his ankle, if he can't plant to be able to throw the ball down the field, they're going to have to rely on those running backs a little bit more than maybe they do in the past. But they've both proven this season that they can play and they can impact the game. So I think for Kansas City, that's who has to show up.
I was just impressed that Mahomes was able to, but he just signaled for tape or whatever, and then he just hobbled back out and finished the drive.
Yeah, Mahomes is, I can think of games nearly every year in his career where he starts hobbling around on that ankle of his. So I don't know if it's a real thing or not. It reminds me of Steph Curry chewing on his mouthpiece, just like Mahomes limping around on the field. Just feel like it's one of those affects that he does to try to draw attention to himself. But still, go Chiefs.
I'm just rooting for the Bengals because I think they deserve redemption. The Rams, I really think if whoever got the penalties against the Bengals to get the Rams to the 1 yard line, if those never happened, then the Bengals could have probably won.
Yeah,
They
definitely looks like it'll be a matchup for many years to come.
Mm.
Chiefs and Bengals are going to be two of the top teams in the AFC for quite a while, it seems.
And probably the Eagles and Niners too, because if Purdy proves to be one of the better quarterbacks like he's been playing like in the past 7 games, then he could be a starter.
Yeah.
And they've already got a really good team around him. They got Elijah Mitchell, who, when given the chance and not being injured, he's a good quarterback, or running back.
Mm-hmm.
But of course, if CMC is gonna keep on aging, then that's gonna be a problem. But with Debo and Ayuk and all those other good players, they've got a pretty good receiving core, and they're all really young. So then you add Kittle, who, well, he's aging and all, but he's still good while he lasts for the next 5-6 years at least. They've got a pretty good roster for Purdy, at least through these next few years in his rookie contract, if they keep him at starter.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we all know Jimmy G's probably not going to be there next year, and Trey Lance, he's probably going to get injured at least once, because...
Hard to say what they'll do, but they've got more important things to worry about this week, right? So maybe our watchers and subscribers can put in the chat, in the comments, what they think is going to be the outcome of this week's games, what the Super Bowl matchup will be. And next week we can come back and give them a Super Bowl preview.
Well,
right.
Thanks for watching this episode of The Evan Show.
And before we go, shout out to this guy to get his first basket of the year this year, plus a sweet assist. Nice job, Evan.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
Bye.